both the steering arms, both sides, because I'm taking the rack off. This rack has been modified as a non-power steering rack. It's been gutted out, and the fittings have all been blanked off. For me, that's useless. Like, non-power steering with 18-inch wheels, heavy car, like in perspective, pretty heavy car, won't work in my opinion. So the MX5 rack has fittings at the top where the pressure lines go in, and they foul the sump. So I had a rack modified. One of my fabricating friends modified this rack. So instead of these fittings here that have been moved, clocked 90 degrees, instead of them being up here and hitting the sump, they now push out the front, and they're braided neater. And then the fittings here are banjos rather than pipes, because originally the pipes would come across here, they're copper pipes, and that would all be in the way. So yeah, now these pipes are going to stick out the front, and yeah, fit all in there. It should all fit quite nicely. It's essentially the same rack, just this one's got power steering now. Right, all the bolts out, it's all loose, the rack is. I can't get it to fully come off though. It's come out a little bit. I'll show you, I've got a light here. So it's come out a little bit, but it just won't come off that last bit. So what I'm going to do is, I don't really want to have to lower the subframe down, but I'll lower the car down, get inside the car, see if I can pull the UJ into the car. Pulled the column out, pulled it all the way back. So now that the input shaft won't be on the steering rack anymore, and I should be able to drop the steering rack down now. So we're gonna have a look. It's now off the steering input shaft. The UJ's off, so I should be able to pull this out of the way now. Might take a little bit of twisting, but it should just come straight out. Turn that light off a sec, so I've got a spare hand. Put that there. That's a bit fiddly, that is. Back in. So how far I've had to cut it out, and I think that should fit now. But what I'm going to do is wait for my fittings to arrive, and then I can fit the banjo on already, and then I'll know for definite before I weld it up, because it's pointless to weld it up now and then find out it doesn't fit. So yeah, back to wait. This is where I made it to so far. Not pretty, but it's how it's going. A couple more triangles to weld in, right side to weld in. I'm going to just do another test fit again in a second, make sure that hasn't for some reason now fouling, but should be alright. Right, I've just welded on these little extension plates for the rad. The rad obviously was about 2 inches, 2.5 inches closer in, but it was just a bit too close to everything for my liking. It basically touched the harness of the oil cooler, oil relocator, whatever. So yeah, now it sits at slightly less of an angle, slightly higher, closer to the front of the car. Should get better airflow. I need to make some little rubber bushes for these. Should help it, give it a bit of flex, but it's alright, it should do the job. I can I could put the pipe on, but then I've got to get it back off at some point anyway, and get the steering rack back in. Once I've painted all these bits, I've got to paint them as well. I actually do need to order. Right, power steering. My new rack is now fitted. Here's my custom lines now mounted. Instead of vertical, they now come out front ways. You can't really see it, it's really difficult to see, but it's all fitted nicely behind in there. AN6 hydraulic lines, same sort of lines used for fuel. Radiator, that's the high pressure from the pump feed. It's on a M10 by 1.5 banjo to an AN6 adapter, AN6 directly into my rack, and then the return is an AN6 and then just hosed over onto the return. You can kind of see at the bottom there where I had to notch it all out to clear, but it's all clear. I can turn my steering wheel, it's all free to turn. What I want to do now is power it up and test it, but I can't do that because I've forgotten to bring the most important item when testing power steering, and that is power steering fluid. But basically this is a Vauxhall Astra electric power steering pump. I think that's permanent earth, permanent power fused, and then on here one of these is earthed, and then the other two will go to ignition live. Pretty easy to sort out. We'll see if this actually works. Well, I have electric power steering. Feels good, to be fair. That's pretty good. And that's obviously with a low ampage pump as well. So there you go, working. You can hear it spinning at more pressure now. Nice.